Is there a faster growing person on Twitter than the man I'm about to interview? I don't think so. Like I see you all over the place. Nick Hancock is the guest today. Thanks for hopping on for the newsletter. Thanks for the time and listen. I've enjoyed your content on Twitter or X or whatever we're calling it these days. So it's good to finally get to connect with you and talk with you.
Likewise. Thanks for having me, brother.
So you specialize in is it mattress new sales, resales? Like unpack what it is that your core business is.
Yeah, we have vendors that we get our mattresses from. That's built up over 35 years of experience from my father. And then we sell them in our store, we sell them online, whatever the case may be, right? So
Okay, and what I love about the mattress space is, if you see there's my stance is I'm a pretty big free market capitalist, which means there's a billion ways to do stuff, right? And it's like you'll see people say, well, you should never run discounts or never run sales because that's degrading your value. And of course, mattresses are always running sales and stuff. So where do you guys kind of like fall into that with the mattress space? Is it just
yeah,
expected
we're
so you have to do it?
we're not a run sales company in the general sense that you know. My
Okay.
dad had 8 stores at one point.
Oh wow.
All retail, like like if you were to go to any typical mattress firm, etc., right?
Right.
He had 8 stores just like that, and ran the sales, and Labor Day was huge, etc.
Mm-hmm.
And so when we switched to kind of this model, which is more by appointment, far smaller scale, um, our point was we're just going to offer people the best price from the get go. We're not here to negotiate, and do deals left and right, etc. We're just going to offer you a deal 24/7. And so we kind of always say like, hey, we're on sale 24/7. Like this is, we're getting you the best bang for your buck, and that's that. And so what we do is we show people, hey, for this exact mattress, here's our price, right?
Mm-hmm.
And here's what you'd be paying at retail.
Okay.
And so we already do the work for our customers to educate them, and then we educate them on the quality of our mattresses as well. So, in a sense, I guess you could say we always have a sale,
Always have a sale,
um,
yeah.
but not in your typical like, okay, these are the 4 or 5 weekends a year that retail
Right.
does to really just keep their inflated prices inflated, right?
So if you are you familiar with CarMax? Do you have CarMax out there?
Yeah, yeah, I'm
So,
familiar
so,
with
so
them.
is it kind of like a CarMax model where like, hey, this is the price. We're not here to negotiate. This is what you can get it for, type thing.
Yeah, I mean, look, at the end of the day, if it takes a little bit
Gotcha.
to help a customer out and that closes the deal, I'm not opposed to it, right?
Yeah. Sure.
But for the most part, we're not inviting people to negotiate with us. We're not jacking up our prices so that we can come down,
Come down. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
We're just trying to do the fair and honest thing. I tell people it's like if my if my grandmother were to come through that door, like
Hmm.
I would treat her the same way as I treat every single one of my customers, right?
Nice. Nice.
It's the same mentality, and that's just a family run business. You can kind of see the family up here, um, and that's how we do it.
Okay. And so are you guys? So is it a thing where you said your dad been in business for 8 years? I think you said that you have this so much inventory now that you can give these insights or discounts, or is it just that
No, it's all
the
relation. It's all
okay.
relationships. This business is so relationship heavy.
Uh-huh.
It's you said you're in Texas. It's good old boy. It's conversations in person,
Hmm.
right? Building relationships in person, going to the furniture markets and really building relationships,
Hmm.
and then showing people that you're good for it over a period of time, right? One of our vendors we just did a hotel deal with, they knew we were good for what we were telling them we were good
Hmm.
for, right? We don't put our name on something unless we know for sure we can do it at the quality that we expect, right? And so that's what we've been doing.
Okay, so I think the last mattress we bought, and next time I need one, I'm calling you. Don't worry. The last one we bought was from Amazon. Like I think we got it. It was rolled up, and we cut the phone, the plastic in it, inflated, not like an air pump, but expanded or whatever. And it's been a good mattress. So someone like me who knows nothing about mattresses other than I've slept on some at the house, of course, hotels and whatnot. Like start the process of uh, like how do you even determine is it like the sleep number, like how do you determine what kind of mattress do you need?
Yeah, I mean, so this is where I've really been helping people out, and figuring out like, okay, it really comes down to comfort at the end of the day, right?
Okay.
Comfort, and then um, what are you actually getting inside that mattress? The hard part is a lot of these companies don't tell you or educate you at all about what's inside your mattress, right?
Mm-hmm.
Individually pocket coils are the best coil unit you can have in a mattress. Memory foam is the best foam that you can have, right?
Okay.
Other than like latex, which is just more than it's way too expensive for most
Right.
people. Um, so like those are the two combination factors, but like also, what do you like? There's so many different variations, right? Like, are you looking for a perimeter to your mattress that's solid for you to be able to sit on? Are you looking for a cold cover, etc. And this is what I really kind of talk people through and ask them questions and really, qualify their needs, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it takes someone really like an expert truly helping you on your behalf, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what I do, whether it's to people out in Texas,
Mm-hmm.
or people here locally. Thankfully, we really expanded our abilities to ship, so we can help out anybody anywhere. And so I'm able to tell people out. I shipped out to a guy earlier this year, Richmond, Texas.
Oh wow.
Um, so we're able to help out people all over the place, but it's a confusing process, because the bigger companies and the manufacturers change lineups every year.
Oh, okay.
So what you thought you got last year might not be being made the next year, right? And so you
Mm-hmm.
can't go back and reorder that same mattress in 6, 7 years because it's gone through 6 or 7 different names, right?
Mm-hmm. So when you ship it across, okay, so I bought mine from Amazon. Have no idea where it came from, of course, because it came from Amazon. You're in North
Probably
Carolina.
China.
You shipped it to China. Yeah, maybe so. I don't say I don't. I didn't even think about the shipping. It was like Amazon. I got Prime. Cool. Good to hear. No big deal. You're in North Carolina, so if I was going to buy one, I would not think I can buy one from someone in North Carolina and get a better deal than locally. Like, how does that work? Because you're shipping it, or maybe you have a local distributor. How does that component
Yeah, some
work?
of our vendors have already shipping programs in
Okay.
place with FedEx, or UPS or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then for the ones that don't, we actually recently, as of the last month or two, really since I came onto Twitter,
Mm-hmm.
um, we've got into some buying groups essentially that allow us to be able to get group rates,
Oh
right?
wow. Yeah.
Even being small. So I mean, we can basically ship anything for under $50, right? Um,
Wait, hold on. Huh. You can ship a mattress for under $50
yep,
across the U.S.
yep,
I guess because they're having regional hubs or whatnot, and so they're not
yep.
shipping it where you're okay. So if you had them in North Carolina, like
Well,
a
they're
warehouse, it
also
costs you
getting
more.
volume
Right.
discounts, right?
Right.
So it's not like it's me shipping. Like when I looked at this for just me, I was
Yeah.
getting quoted $130.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's why we got into a buying group.
Yeah. Well, it's fun because the reason I was asking, I got the video kind of blurred here, but we have the Amazon resale stuff, and we do dabble in that some. And a lady gave us some Yeti coolers to sell for her, and I think I told my wife was talking about pricing them, and she looked at Facebook Marketplace versus eBay, and to ship it, she kind of just picked some extremes to ship it to in the U.S. It was like $150 just to ship that Yeti cooler, which is not nearly as
Yeah, you
heavy
got
as
to be in
a
buying
mattress.
groups.
Yeah, buying groups. So what like unpack a buying group, and I never even heard of a thing. So what
I
is
didn't
that?
either. I didn't either. I put it out on Twitter. I asked some people. Some people got me in touch with different people. It was a lot of. It was a whole week of just like talking to different people, them putting me into, and then I talked with one person who really just stood out. His name's Ori, and he kind of got me into their buying group, that essentially or shipping group, but etc.
Yeah.
That allows us to be able to ship for a fraction of the price.
So like this buying group or shipping group, whatever you call it, are they only doing mattresses? Or are they doing like Yeti coolers and all kinds of stuff?
I
Or how
think
does
they
that
do
work?
everything. Yeah, I
Okay.
think they do everything under the sun. Yeah, I think the biggest thing it depends on like dimensions really is how
Okay.
they go based off of for cost. I mean, like mattresses, the high ends are anywhere from 50 to 60, 70 pounds, and the low
Right.
ends are 13 pounds to 26 pounds, right? And what I found was just through looking at the numbers, um, as long as the dimensions were the same, the difference between a 26-pound mattress and a 50-pound was nothing,
Oh, okay.
right? In terms of the shipping. So it's all based off of how can they maximize the space
Mm-hmm.
in their in the ground, right?
Mm-hmm.
The ground transporting um, for pricing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's all about fitting in those mattresses or Yeti coolers or whatever it
Right. Whatever
is
it is. Yeah.
on the ground transport. They don't care about the weight. Weight doesn't affect them at all. It's all about how much space is it going to take up on their
Oh.
trucks.
So they're shipping out all kinds of stuff. You guys are throwing in some mattresses as well as part of this, and then they
Yeah.
have trucks or whatever distribution
Yeah, I
mechanism
mean
they have.
we're just a num for this company that we're
Hmm.
working with, which I'll be happy to at a later date give more
Yeah,
we're
yeah, yeah,
just
yeah, yeah. Sure.
starting, give
Yeah.
more feedback on them. As long as I don't like to give out free promotions where I don't know enough
No, no,
yet.
no, no. Yeah, I'm just more curious about the mechanics of it because when I started saying like, I think one of the things that one of the ideas that I've chewed on is there's a lot of different ways to do stuff. Mattresses, there's people who do sales. You don't do sales, but people make a lot of money doing sales, and so there's all these ways to do stuff. And what becomes I think helpful for people is go, oh, I didn't realize, like you just mentioned the shipping group. I didn't even know that existed. It makes sense once you explain. It's like, oh yeah, duh, I can see that, but I would have never thought about that either. And so just the idea, like, how does it work? What's the kind of promote? So yeah, not you don't got to promote the 3PL or whoever it is you're using. You don't have to promote them, but just understanding, okay, yeah, this is how this works because um, there's a lot of opinions on how to do stuff, and then there's just a practical execution, which might not work for some, but works for others.
Right, yeah. So I mean, for instance, on that, like let's say somebody buys from you buy two like I just had a perfect example. I had to talk to a guy off Twitter the other day. Two fulls is what he wants. And he doesn't want to be on the expensive end, which is stuff that I have that's already
Mm-hmm.
got FedEx settled. So
Mm-hmm.
I have another vendor who makes an amazing product,
Mm-hmm.
but they're more traditional, and so they need to have a roll pack mattress, which not every company does. But they do. They have a roll pack line, and so I talked through some of the options there. Um, and so I just figured out, okay, well, it's going to cost an extra 30-ish bucks, $35, depending on the weight and everything. And so then once that order gets placed in with me, then I place it into my vendor, right? And then I use the shipping company essentially to
Mm-hmm.
say, okay, we're gonna place this, and through their software, you can place, you can say, okay, Amazon or not Amazon, FedEx needs to pick it up
Right.
there, right? Um, and then you just ship over the shipping label that they gotta tag onto it, and then
Nice.
they pick it up at a certain hour, and you get tracking numbers, and bada bing, bada boom. I mean, when you're at a smaller scale, you have to use these bigger companies that
Yeah.
already have everything in
Oh yeah.
place for a while, right?
Well, and that's like with our resale stuff. Just use that or Twitter. I love that because it's working for you,
Hmm.
even though you need it, right? So like eBay, we'll wake up some mornings and we sold stuff on eBay. We didn't do anything; it's just sitting out there, or get a client off of Twitter because the post's out there. So same principle. Like they have this big infrastructure that you would never have. So they help you because they're doing stuff that you would never do. So yeah, I'm a bit.
Yeah,
I
and
think
you know what? We're not shipping experts, right? We're mattress experts, and
right.
so like this is where we really used the benefits of Twitter and just like building
Mm-hmm.
an audience and like getting stuff out there because I simply just posted the question out there and I had guys commenting on there. I talked to two or three people on the phone, and then I had another person DM me that pointed me in a direction to another person, which led to me finally finding this company, right? And so it was
Mm-hmm.
like a week or two process, which is
Mm-hmm.
not the end of the world.
Yeah.
But it took a little work on my end,
Mm-hmm.
and like learning a crap ton, right, very
Mm-hmm.
quickly.
Mm-hmm.
But essentially, we got to opening up, all of our vendors now to being able to be shipped,
Oh wow.
right?
Yeah.
Which is awesome for us because it obviously is going to lead to more sales.
Mm-hmm.
But more so now I can fully um, fulfill the needs of my customers,
Mm-hmm.
right? In a way that before we didn't. In a way before we had the high end
Mm-hmm.
covered because they already had shipping, done for you, right?
Mm-hmm.
But these smaller companies or these companies that maybe offer uh, lower costing mattresses, but very high quality still.
Mm-hmm.
Um, just don't have that stuff in infrastructure in place, right?
Yeah.
And so, you either want to make the sale or you don't, right? So I had to figure out a way.
No, that's
And
awesome.
that's the same for, all of our stores. So we have three different stores: Charlotte, Raleigh, and Wilmington,
Okay.
uh, all run by my
You're
brother there, my dad there.
Yeah,
Um,
so if you're not watching, he's pointing a family picture up there of his dad,
yes,
his family.
sorry, yeah,
No, it's okay.
yeah.
That's
My
okay.
my I'll give a picture so people not watching. My dad with a very bald head, and a lot of sweets. And my brother who's works like a crap ton on his 33 acre farm essentially.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, but yeah.
And so doing kind of what you guys are doing, you got the three stores, but again, I'm in Texas. We'll just make me as a fake use case here. Mattress, I guess most times is not something you need tomorrow, right? It's next week or two, month two, whatever. Just when it gets here, it gets here. So the shipping, overnight delivery, stuff like that, maybe you offer, maybe you don't, but that's probably not a big concern for a lot of customers because they just need something, and if they're moving into a new house, they say, "Well, we need it by this date," I guess.
Yep.
So like shipping time isn't that big of a deal, I guess.
Not for most, like I'd say probably 80%. You have the 20% of people who they're like, I need it now. I just,
Yeah,
blah
yeah,
blah blah. It's okay,
sure.
okay. It's 3 to 7 days,
Mm-hmm.
typically on
Mm-hmm.
that 3 to 4 to 5 days. But
Mm-hmm.
we say 3 to 7 just to be safe. Things can happen, right?
Sure.
But we're really dependent on FedEx, UPS, etc. at that
Right.
point. But yeah, no, I'd say for 85% of people, no, shipping in the time frame, not a problem.
Yeah. And then what about like returns and damage? I mean, do mattresses get damaged in shipping? Like, how does that work?
We haven't had any of those cases yet, knock on
Okay.
wood. So hopefully this is the start of that. And then we don't do like the return game where you sleep on it for 100 days
Yeah.
and yada yada yada. Simply because you're paying for that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you can totally do that. You can go to Tempur-Pedic, and you can go to Mattress Firm, buy a Tempur-Pedic, get a 100-day sleep trial, blah blah blah, or same thing, sleep number, whatever, yada yada yada, right? But you're essentially going to pay, even if you love that mattress, you're paying for the people who have returned their mattress.
No.
Because
Okay.
when a mattress is returned, one, it's typically not returned, it's donated,
Mm.
right? And so the company is then eating that money, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what happens over a long period of time is the costs have to go up
Mm-hmm.
to fulfill that cost that's actually happening to the company, right?
Yeah.
So we don't play that game for that reason. We're just going to give people the best price. And if you don't love the mattress, well, the good news is our price is half the cost. You can buy another one, right? I mean
Yeah.
that's
Right.
really the case. Like for instance, people every day on Twitter will send me 6 to 8K mattresses that they love from Tempur-Pedic, right? No problem. I got almost the same exact mattress for 2 to 3K.
Oh wow. Same brand or
You
different
know,
company?
same. Or sorry, it is a different company, but same spec build,
Yeah.
almost identical mattress. What happens is, like everybody knocks off everybody, right?
Right.
Nothing is patented, really anymore.
Right.
And so what happens is these companies, these manufacturers will take in, we just did this with one of our traditional companies. They'll take in a Tempur-Pedic, tear it apart, rebuild it back up, slap the name on it, and call it a day, right?
Yeah.
And it's the same mattress. It really is. It might vary just a tad in comfort, right? But
Right.
after you break in the mattress, you're not going to realize it. But you know what you will realize? $3,000 being in your bank account.
Well, and listen, I'm not an attorney, not a copyright expert, but I remember in school years ago, high school, elementary, and they were talking about copyright stuff. Who knows if this is true or not? But they were saying that you don't have to change it much to actually avoid the copyright. And so I can see with like a mattress just changing, if it's 85% silk top or whatever it is, make it
Yeah.
84% cotton or 84% silk or whatever, and then all of a sudden it's a different mattress. And so it's funny because I know like Coca-Cola has hidden their secret for the recipe, but AI can I'm sure they could have done it
Hmm.
before, but like today anyone could probably go get the Coke recipe and duplicate
Yeah.
it overnight. So
Yeah,
Matt,
the hard part is not that, right? It's
mhm.
brand.
It's the branding. Yes, that's what I was getting
Yeah.
to. Yeah, yeah.
Mattress Firm has a brand,
Hmm.
right? They're on every single corner and people think it's money laundering, yada yada yada. but they're on every corner. They're very convenient, and you're paying for that convenience.
Yep.
Tempur-Pedic is known to be the number one brand because they were the first to penetrate the market, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, even when they had people like sweating their tails off because of the way the mattress was made at first. Doesn't matter. Like that, they are the top tier, and same thing, right? You can go down the list, right? And so that's what you're truly competing with. Coke, like you have a brand. I used to drink when I was a youngin. I drink 6, 7 Cokes a day, right?
I'm
So
a Diet
yeah,
DP fan now,
there
so
you
that's
go.
my drink.
Yeah,
But
Dr.
yes.
Pepper. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So now I'm just drinking water 24/7.
Yeah.
But yeah. So like you're really competing with brand, and I think that's honestly what I'm trying to build up and just get the word out of like I'm the mattress guy,
Right.
period.
Yeah.
Right? And like if you need a mattress or sleep, you want to figure that out. That's who you call mattress
Well,
guy.
and it's kind of smart because on some level, you're doing what Tempur-Pedic did, right? So they
Hmm.
were the mattress company, you're the mattress guy, and so
Yep.
it's just a different way to brand it. And I think
Personal
that
branding, right?
personal branding, yeah, I think that, um, I go back and forth. I went viral on Twitter the other day for some silly post I'd put up. I actually put up a few years ago. I just changed it and redid it and it went viral, and it was funny.
Classic.
Um, yeah, right. But I picked up a bunch of 100, 150 whatever it was subscribers and some newsletter subscribers and all this stuff. And so, um, what I always come back to and kind of chew on this idea of there's the idea of especially starting out, you just go out, you talk about what you talk about, and you get clients doing that. I think that's super important. But then there becomes like this goal where if you can get above that and you can kind of go viral, not for what I went, which is about being 40, so it's kind of a joke, but if you can go viral over and over again, you're going to attract a lot of people, and the moat becomes distribution. And so, like Tempur-Pedic, they have a huge moat right now
Yep.
because they are considered. That's the brand I know. There's Tempur-Pedic. Was it blue or purple or some color mattress? I don't know.
Yep. Purple.
Purple. Okay, I don't know a bunch about mattresses as you can tell,
Yeah.
but the moat is that like because I know those, I know you, and so I know. And there's a few places in town I'll see, but so we've kind of missed that. There's all these things, but the moat a lot of times is just simply the branding, the product, not the product, the distribution, the name behind it. And so I think it's really smart to get out there and be like, hey, I'm the mattress guy, because at some point someone else will try to compete. Maybe there are other people on Twitter, I don't know, but
Yeah.
your moat will be bigger or harder to cross than theirs there because you've spent the time doing it.
Yeah, and I also think like long term, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody talks about like AI and
Mm-hmm.
technology, et cetera, right? But I think also there's a human element to all this, right? Where it's like people don't want to back a company anymore,
Yeah.
right? Like the days of backing, like if you look at my generation,
Mm-hmm.
long gone are the days of kids, of adults staying at a company for 25, 30
Yeah.
years,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Because the thought process out there is the company's not gonna do you right,
Mm-hmm.
over a long period of time. So, like, I got friends who are just jumping from job to job to job to job, right?
Mm-hmm.
But what are people gonna always care about at the end of the day? People,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like it's a people society, right? At
Mm-hmm.
the end of the day, like
Mm-hmm.
for the 90% of the great humans in the world,
Yeah.
right? Um, it's about people at the end of the day. And so for me, it's like, can I hop on this, right?
Yeah.
And get one more person to follow me.
Right.
And if I do that consistently, it's going to compound, right? I mean, I've been doing it since December, and already seeing like a drastic impact in my business, um, and the connections, and now people are just reaching out left and right. It's compounding and going to have a real effect on our business. And it's because I simply just started like moving my thumbs on my phone.
Yeah.
You
Hey,
know,
and how old are you? You said your
I'm
generation
27.
27. So I'll be 40 this year. So there's a generational gap, and it's interesting because for me, grew up born in 85, grew up kind of looking at this stuff a certain way, did large enterprise sales, B2B type stuff. So company. And I worked for my dad's company just like you did for a long period of time. But, it's like personal brand and stuff. I don't know, whatever.
Right.
And then when I left that world behind, it's like, okay, I've wasted a lot of time because here I was B2B big enterprise sales thinking that was the way to do stuff. And I learned a lot from that. But ultimately, that's, you know, it's really weird because there's the personal brand, and then there's the people who like to be excited to be connected to people with personal brands, right? Like I know the mattress guy, like that's exciting, and that helps you get exposure and stuff because if you're a good person, they can recommend you and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
I kind of missed that when I was younger. I mean, I would watch like Gary Vee talk about it. I was like, I don't know.
Right.
But the longer I've gone
That's
on,
how I got on everything was Gary
yeah,
Vee.
yeah,
I love him. And
and
also,
so
I met him in person. Great
oh,
guy.
how was that?
He's a really nice guy. They were trying to recruit my buddy to be agents for my buddy who went on to the NFL. And I met and I really got to know his brother, his younger brother AJ, which is
AJ,
he's not talked about enough.
yeah,
Um, really good people. Like
mm-hmm,
from what I gathered, I know AJ more than Gary. Had a
mm-hmm,
brief interaction with Gary, but they were super nice in the interaction. And AJ's always been nice. I've kept up. I probably texted him 2 or 3 weeks ago.
yeah.
So good people.
Well, but it goes into like one of the things I don't get behind is fantasy football. Not really my thing. I like the teams.
Okay.
I don't want to pull. I grew up in Louisiana. I hate the Cowboys. I would much rather the Cowboys lose than Dak Prescott throw for 400 yards, my team win. But that's
Yeah.
my generation. Like the younger
Yeah.
generation, or maybe some of my generation, they'd rather Dak Prescott throw for 400 yards and
Yep.
their
That's
team
my
win.
generation.
That's your generation,
I'm
right?
in
And
two
so
fantasy football leagues. Yep.
right, and so it's been hard for me to like that's silly, that's stupid. It doesn't matter what I think. Like people, they resonate with that, and so
Yep.
it's really weird because I grew up. This is your team. This is you pull for. And that's kind of still how I am. Fantasy. I played it some, but not really a big thing I do
Yep.
now because I just got to this point to where the Falcons, big rivals of the Saints. I'd rather them lose than my fantasy team win. Like I would just rather that, and so it doesn't make me feel good if my fantasy team wins and the Saints lost and the Falcons won. I don't feel any better, so I just quit doing it. But it ties into personal branding, right? Because those are all this is a team of personal brands. That's all it is. Like this
Yep.
player, this player, this player, this player, this player, and you're pulling for them because you want them to succeed regardless of the score a lot of
Yeah,
times.
man, it's been awesome. I just had a sale on Sunday. A lady, I won't say her name in case she wants to stay anonymous, but she bought from me simply because she posted on Twitter
Mm-hmm.
and she was gonna buy like a nectar or something, which
Mm-hmm.
I have other thoughts about nectar and purple and all that, but anyway,
Yeah, you probably say that
nectar.
for a more mattress level podcast than I am. I
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
know.
yeah,
I just
right.
heard names, so
Yeah. For anybody listening though, nectar got bought out by Ashley, and you can do your research on all that. But so the reason why she found me, I just had like 4, 5, 6 people just like start tagging me in her
yep,
on her post,
yeah.
right? Crazy enough, she's local. She's in
Oh
Charlotte.
wow. Oh cool.
She never heard of me,
Yeah.
right? And so she took 10 minutes out of her day to come over. I told her, I was like, look, if you don't like any of the mattresses, no worries.
Mm-hmm.
Buy that nectar crap online, right? Like get your sale. I'm all for it. If I can help you out, I'm gonna help you out.
Right.
And she bought with me, and like I'm going to deliver on Friday, right?
Cool.
But that is what it's all about with personal brand. Like I built these connections. All these people are think highly enough of me at least to
Mm-hmm.
at me on her post, right?
Yeah.
And it led to a sale, but also it led to her getting a better mattress, in my opinion.
Right. No, that's great. Now you mentioned the 100-day return earlier. I wanted to come back to that
Yep.
because returns are interesting. I don't know. I watched a video the other day that said you got to have some kind of return policy. I don't on digital products or coaching or
Hmm.
newsletter or whatever it might be. I don't know about mattresses, but I do wonder about that because like Hormozy's big on if it doesn't work, then you'll work for free or give you money back and stuff. And Walmart used to have a big return policy, and then the 100-day mattress return is kind of weird because if I get a mattress, the odds I'm gonna I have a king size bed. And I've got 4 kids, so varying size there, but king size bed for me and the wife. The odds I'm going to take it and ship it back are pretty slim. Like I've got to really hate it, and so
Yeah.
I mean, it's a genuine offer, but it's one that probably doesn't get returned a lot. But
Maybe, I
this
don't know.
maybe, yeah, I don't know either. I'm just saying, like, I'm just thinking about I really have to hate the mattress to return it back after 100 days, especially.
Yeah, my only caveat to that would be like my generation now, like your generation probably not.
Yeah.
right? My generation now is such a and I hate like even giving them free promotion, but Amazon, Walmart, generation
Yeah.
where you can buy stuff, use it,
Mm,
return it, get
mm,
your money back,
mm,
right? You see this
mm,
all the time around Halloween. I
mm,
have friends, I know people who do this like clockwork.
mm,
Buy clothes. Oh, I used it for this dress or whatever the case
mm.
is. And then I used it for that one night I needed it. And then I returned it. I got my money back.
Yeah.
So I understand your point. I think it's just like like my generation specifically, is turning far more into a return. They'll go through the hassle to return.
Yeah.
Is it far
What,
harder with a mattress? Of course,
yeah.
right?
Well, what I was
Um,
getting to is that I think actually more people are going to go no return policies because if you
you
make it
have
so
to,
you have to because if you make it so easy like you take like the we'll work for free or we'll do this or we'll do that or no questions asked refund. It's like okay, yeah, but you did do if you did do the work, it's like okay, sorry, like the work was done. And I'm not saying you should never
right?
do returns or whatever,
Right.
but this the blanket. I got an article I'm going to share today on Twitter. I think I saw this morning read some newsletters about the rise in returns for the companies you mentioned. That kind of stuff, that kind of mindset. Like it's so easy. Like the eBay stuff we have behind us is literally most of it is there's a place in town that sells Amazon return packages, and so we just go buy a box like $50, and it's all stuff people returned, and most of it's. I mean, some of it's not good at selling Amazon, eBay because it's like 2023 graduation. You can't sell that. But a lot of it's just stuff that people bought and never opened, never used, and now they want to, and they've returned it. And so it's like this is. I mean, it's not. It's not beat up. It's not terrible. Like there's nothing wrong with it. They just didn't want it for whatever reason. So I do think we'll see a shift with that return policy where I think historically, like what's the thing off of Tommy Boy? I want to guarantee on the box and all that stuff. And I think that's kind of 5 to 10 years away from people going, you know what? If you don't like it, don't buy it because I'm just
Right.
not dealing with all this.
Well, free doesn't pay the bills at the end of the
Yeah.
day, and we're not nonprofits, right? And we're not getting government funding. So, like at some point you got to make money, otherwise you don't provide,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I think also it's worth noting like uh no returns and no and like the sale being final doesn't mean that if there's a problem with the
Right.
mattress that you can't do an exchange
Yeah.
or you can't get a new mattress, right? Like
Yeah.
or get it a brand new one that's actually doesn't have any problems, right? Like that's covered on under warranties. What we are saying is, hey, if you bought a medium,
Mm-hmm.
right? Medium firm or a luxury plush or whatever, and you end up not liking that comfort, you made your bed, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now you got to
Yeah.
sleep in it,
Right.
right? And so that's the biggest thing I would say there. That's also why we, sell for half the price of
Mm-hmm.
the same identical, right? Because hey, you're not getting a 100-day trial, but you're also not paying 4 grand more.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, like how much is that 100-day trial worth to you?
Right.
The real question, right?
Right.
And also, I think it's worth noting as well, like 100-day trials aren't all it's cracked up to be.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people don't fully understand this. Like, a 100-day trial doesn't mean necessarily that you just get your money back, right? It can mean first you got to read the fine print. It can
Mm-hmm.
mean first that you get an exchange, and then for an exchange you have to pay an additional amount of money, and then you have to try that out, and then at that point, if you don't like that one, then you could potentially get your money out. But then you're still $400 $500 in the hole
Right.
at the end of the day, right? So it doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to buy this mattress, and if I don't like it, I'm going to return it and get my money back. No, it's not how life works.
So don't wait till day 95 to send it back. Is what you're saying.
Right. Well, and also like, don't believe everything you read.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
unless it's lawyer speak, fine
Mm.
print, then you can then you can believe it, right?
Yeah.
Because that's what they're going to take you to court for, you know?
Oh yeah. 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 So on the personal brand aspect, so you got the kind of the 100-day return it, but then there's so that's kind of the guarantee, the old school way of doing it, and it still works. There's nothing wrong with that if that's what you want to do, of course. But then the personal brand, and one of the things I've chewed on here recently is the personal brand aspect predates the Gary V's. Think of injury attorneys; they're everywhere all the time. If you get in a wreck or you get hurt, call me. I'll sue on your behalf. And it wasn't some big law firm you never heard of. It's Ron Ray Law Firm or the Cancott Law Firm. It was just like I'm the guy who's going to help you. And so personal branding has probably had a lot more power in certain arenas than we've been led to believe. And I say led to believe, but we think we've kind of my generation, big corporations, get a job, keep a job,
Yep.
yada yada. But now you go, okay, well, personal branding, and then you go, wait, injury attorneys have been around forever, and they're all personal brands. Like that's literally all they are. There might be some exceptions, but the Texas is the Hammer. I can't remember the guy's name. You'll see this. I'm the Hammer, and so personal branding is something that's only going to grow. There will probably be a swing back to corporate branding some because people get tired of personal brands, but it's something that how do you distinguish yourself because you want to be the mattress guy, and so how do you distinguish yourself to build that trust to if you think about the injury attorney, they're talking only about if this happens to you, call me. If this happens to you, call me. So like how do you tackle that on Twitter? I guess maybe you're somewhere else, LinkedIn, I don't know, but
Yeah,
on Twitter.
in December, I made a distinct effort to only talk mattresses 24/7,
Okay.
right? And so whether it was just replying on stuff for people saying mattress guy agrees or whatever the case, I wanted to be almost obnoxious in putting in mattress into whatever it is that I said.
Yeah.
Because that just creates a brand. I also changed my handle on there to @mattress guy. Before it was.
Oh, is that actually your handle? I didn't. I know
Yep.
your thing says it, but I didn't realize it's
Yep.
at. Okay, let me look that up. I didn't
Yep.
even realize that.
And then I put like dash mattresses on there as well. So like all those things, right? If people type in mattress on Twitter,
There you go. Yeah.
hopefully I come up, right? So,
Yeah, that sure is. I think
yep,
it's Nick. I've seen your stuff, but yeah, I never
yep,
realized your handle was
yep.
Mattress Guy. That's amazing. That's great. I love it.
Yeah, so I just, it's like I want everything to be that, and it's like full pot committed, all into that.
Hmm.
And then everything I talk about is mattress related in some sense, unless I talk about my faith. Really, that's
Hmm.
that's the only thing I really deviate on. So like that's for me, it's like you need to be not once, not twice, not three times, but like 10, 20 times saying the same thing over before people actually fully
Yeah.
get it, right?
Yeah.
And so that's been the commitment, and some people get it quicker than others, but it just keeps beating that dead horse essentially, and kind of knocking on the drums, right, and saying this is who I am, this is what we do, right, and even then people don't fully get it. Everybody's got lives, right?
Yeah.
Everybody's got 1,000 things going on in life. Like you got kids, everybody's got jobs, et
Yeah.
cetera, aspirations in life. Like, why do I matter to them, right?
Yeah.
Like, and so if you come in with that humbleness, and then you start to, like, I comment on other people's stuff all the
Hmm.
time, and like for people that show me love, I show them love back,
Hmm.
right? Like, if you do that over time, people want to see you win,
Yeah.
and I think that's the difference. Is like, you have to do the things that don't scale,
Yeah.
right? And if you can continuously do that over a long period of time, then you're going to win.
Well, they don't scale in the sense of like, you know, the lady that you mentioned earlier that bought for me on Sunday. The odds are she's not going to call you back tomorrow and buy 400 mattresses, right?
Right.
But she bought one.
Yep.
But she might have a friend 6 months from now goes, I need a mattress. Oh, we'll call Nick, right? And so it doesn't scale in the sense of the way we think of
Or
scaling.
better yet, she has 3,000 followers,
Yes.
and about 100 of them followed me the past 2 to 3 days
Right.
after she made a post that had about 7K views.
Yes.
Right?
Exactly.
That's the
Exactly.
power.
Exactly. And so there's this kind of battle of the things that scale, and it's like, okay, well, what scales? Okay, well, and then there's the things that you go, well, this doesn't scale, but it actually can scale, and it does build this authority, this branding, this reciprocity with people where they go, okay, man, this Nick's a good guy. He answered my question. He answered my question about mattress and didn't try to sell me one. Like that's the thing.
Right.
And to your point about what you don't know, I think that so many entrepreneurs would do better at saying, I just don't know. Like
Hmm.
like I see Trump's doing something, and I'll see all these entrepreneurs weighing in on this stuff. Now, I don't know about the tariffs and stuff. I've been involved with some China stuff, some Africa stuff, so I have a little bit of understanding of kind of how it works roughly, or how it did work back then. But should we have tariffs or not? I actually don't know. I really
Right.
don't. I don't know. Like what I mean, mattress. Maybe you have an opinion on that. I don't know. So I don't really weigh in on that because it's not as simple as is it going to be good or bad. What I do know is that those things are really complex, and like when I looked at working with some companies in Africa, the big companies, the Exxon Mobil's, they had all these attorneys and ways they would navigate all this stuff. So even if you think it's a net negative for you, the big companies have ways to figure it out that they're not going to tell you about, and so they might agree. So yeah, I think the I don't know is so much more powerful than people think, but they want to hop on this stuff and go, yeah, this is good, this is bad, and go, man, I don't know mattresses. I don't know about mattresses. I got mine from Amazon. I need one soon, probably next year or two, but it works fine. So I don't know. And so
Right.
I think that's the thing that probably when people talk about being real and authentic, it's not saying I like Trump, I like Biden, I like whoever the next president is, or I hate him or whatever. It's going, no, I actually just don't know about this. Like I
Yep.
really just don't know.
Yeah, and I think 99% of the time, that's the answer, right? It's like, if you don't have 2 cents to truly add to the conversation, don't.
Don't.
Like you're gonna be far more respected by keeping your mouth shut when you don't know something than when you do, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and that's what I wrote the other day on and every now and then I'll get sucked in the news, and I just try to mainly repost it or something now. But like I think the Fort Knox investigation could be just funny just to see if
Yeah,
there's actually the gold there. I just
yeah,
want to know. Like I really
right.
don't think it has it, but whatever.
We
Um,
want to know about a lot of the things,
yeah,
right?
I just like to know. Like I'm just curious, is it actually there or not? Like because that
Yep.
was a big deal growing up, Fort Knox, and it's there and all that stuff. Anyways, um, but I think the other day, you think about the Trump proposed 150K income tax, and so there's opinions on the economy and all this. I don't know about any of this stuff. Okay, whatever. What I do know is if I'm a CPA right now, I'm going out with huge messaging about how to get your rates, your income below 150, how to right now, like, and then if Trump passes or not, then you've gained trust because you've given value. So that's kind of how I try to interpret the news. Like, okay, well, is there a way that you could make this a business benefit? If so, then do that. Whether or not the Republicans or Democrats do this thing, it doesn't even matter because everyone's talking about it. And so if you can add, hey, if your taxes, if you made 175, I can get you down to 150 if you call me right now or next week or whatever, webinar, seminar. Like, I'm going to do that because if it passes or not, you have no control over that. You can get mad, angry, upset, love it, it doesn't matter. But you can maybe potentially help someone reduce their taxes today and then if it happens or not. So when you look at that kind of mindset, you're commenting on the mattress world and kind of how it goes. How do you interpret like like tax rebates or stuff like that? How does that tie into the mattress community, or does it at all? Is there write-offs that are unique to mattresses or
Yeah, I
something like
mean,
that?
when people get their taxes back, they'll spend money. But other than that, I mean, we don't, for the
Okay.
most part. I mean, we focus on is just when customers do call us and reach out to us, how can we best help them right then and there
Mhm.
and figure out their needs. But
Mhm.
the rest of it can't control, right?
Yeah.
So
Well, and
don't
you
look
said
for it.
earlier that most people don't know, they don't know about mattresses because they shouldn't. Like they're not mattress experts,
Right.
nor should they be. Like that's not their
Yeah.
thing. They sleep on one. That's about all they do. They don't really care about it. So one of the things that I think is helpful for business owners, and I'm curious how you do this, is saying the same thing a bunch of different ways, right? So you're saying, yeah, you need better rest maybe or whatever, but you're saying it 10, 20, 50, 100 different ways. So it looks fresh and it hits people different each time. And then all of a sudden they're going, oh, yeah, wait, I do have, I don't know what problems they solve, but I have a crick in my neck or whatever. It's got a bow in it or whatever. So how do you go about thinking about talking about mattresses in a lot of different ways so that you hit where people might be at?
Yeah, I mean, news helps with that a little bit, talking through some of that. But I think also just like being in the business and telling
Mm-hmm.
different stories, right, as well. People
Mm-hmm.
love stories. So whether it's telling through stories, different educational pieces, and then just things that come up in the day to day of running a shop, right?
Yeah.
I think those are kind of all things. It really, honestly, um, I haven't taken much of my content and like regurgitated the same things yet. To be
Mm-hmm.
honest, we're not there yet because it's
Mm-hmm.
only been like 3 months of really hitting it hard.
Mm-hmm.
So all of it's really more original thought right now.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I think in the future it will be okay. I got to look at whatever it was, right, and say, okay, well this hit. How can I change up the wording on it? But we're just not having to do a ton of that right now. Um, with that being said, I think it's more like, okay, this happened with this customer. I talked them through this. What did I say there that
Yeah.
struck a chord with them in person or on the phone or whatever that I can relay? Like we just put out something literally just before this about there was some pillow that said it could stop snoring and it's the
I think I
same.
saw you. Yeah, well, I was getting ready for this. I saw that. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's the same type of pillow that Tempur-Pedic's been selling for the past 25 years,
yeah.
and and snoring is still a problem, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's why people get adjustable bases to elevate, their body to an elevation where eventually the snoring essentially stops, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, okay, well, if this pillow can magically stop snoring, then why are adjustable bases being sold still, right?
Yeah.
And also, why is this pillow nothing different than the Tempur-Pedic one that's been being sold for the last 20, 25 years? So just calling out stuff like that as well, I think to educate people, right?
Yeah.
People also like that kind of stuff more.
Mm-hmm.
So like at the beginning, I was calling out like Mattress Firm prices and like just showing people, and I'm probably going to do some of that here coming up because it's just like it's ridiculous the prices people are paying um, for stuff that's just it's good, but it's not as good. You're paying for ads. You're
Yeah.
paying for employees left and right? Like that. You're paying for all that stuff at the end of the day.
And well, that goes back to the personal brand, right? Because if you can have a personal brand, we host this in a newsletter, so we got a brand newsletter. We're in front of them. We talk to them, and so then that you don't have to run big billboards or stuff like that. And so that's kind of that
Hmm.
new way of like, okay, I'm not anti-billboard or Facebook ads or whatever. There's a lot of ways to do this, but it's
Yep.
it's a much more cost-effective way and keep margins high.
Yeah,
So
and just
go
trying to
ahead.
build trust
Yeah.
over a period of time, right? Like I
Mm-hmm.
think every day I show up and post about something, engage with people, I'm building trust in this community,
Mm-hmm.
right? And that just compounds and compounds and compounds, and more people want to hear that, or more people want to share that to others, right?
Okay. So a few rapid fire questions here before we wrap this
Sure.
up. So you said that I think you started in December, really getting serious about the Twitter stuff.
Yeah,
So
about Twitter, yeah.
yeah, it's like, can you share numbers on what that's done for the business, or at
Yeah,
least?
I shared it. I think I already posted on Twitter. We did 150K in revenue um, since December, essentially, and that number's actually probably gone up now, just because of deals lately.
Yeah,
Um, one of those was a big hotel deal that we did, 392 mattresses.
and that came from
Um,
Twitter.
yep,
Wow.
yep. His name's RP. He's posted about it on his personal, um, and we beat a quote that he got. He got a quote for 132K after tax and everything. We quoted him 111 after tax and everything.
Oh wow.
Better build and everything.
So
Got an
150K.
Airbnb deal off of there. 21 mattresses, bed bases, 21
Wow.
bed bases, and 21 protectors locally. They found me on Twitter, and then a bunch of residential people.
Yeah, I bet. So 150K for perspective. This is March 18th of 2025. So you started December. Is that a big shift? Like how where does that fall into like your
Yeah, I
overall
mean
normal
that's
numbers?
huge for us, right? It really cemented our ability in the hotel space and Airbnb. Like we've been doing the residential forever. That's no problem.
Mm.
But in terms of like actually having proof of work and what we can do in the hotel space and Airbnb space, Airbnb's easier, but mainly the hotel space.
And we'll link to this in the newsletter here. But for people who are curious, Nick, I'm not hating on Nick. He's got a very good account, but he only has what 3,100 followers, something like
Yeah,
that. It's
and
not like you
that's
got. I'm not hating. I'm saying it's not
no,
like you
no,
have
no, no.
300,000 followers and it's like, oh, this is no brainer. No, 3,100 followers. You did 150K in 3 months. Like
Yeah,
that's what I'm trying to say.
yeah,
Which
100.
kudos. That's
I
amazing.
agree 1,000%. I can't emphasize that enough. Like, I think like for anybody who's gonna like make an excuse, like you don't have an excuse anymore,
Yeah.
right? Like I got no followers, you know?
Yeah.
Like when you really in the grand scheme of things, think about it. Like
Right.
there's guys with 300,000 followers on there
Yeah.
that are DMing me, you know?
Yeah. Right.
Like you just need to be a little different. And like
Yes.
for me, it's I'm like other than my brother on Twitter as well, which we need to get his followers up. He's only got 300.
Well,
But
send me his stuff. We'll tag him in the show notes as well.
yeah. But like I only have 3,000 followers, but the difference is like you don't see like our industry is a bunch of old white dudes, right? Like that's really what
Yep.
it is. Call it what
Yep.
it is, right?
Yep.
And they're not on Twitter. They're on Facebook, you
Yeah.
know? So like I'd rather be the only fish swimming in this pond, right? And that's what I am right now, for the most part. There's some other people on Twitter as well that have DM me that are awesome people, run their own
Yeah.
mattress stores, furniture stores, etc. They're just not talking about it.
Yeah.
And so for me, it's like, how much can I get out there, and what do people want to see?
Yeah.
I literally bought uh, like I know your listeners can't see this, but like
Oh, is
uh,
that a DJI like a
yeah, it's a
selfie stick
mic and
thing or whatever?
everything, and
Mic
then I
and stuff.
got
Stuff. Yeah.
a
Yeah. Yeah.
tripod. I just got in. One of the guys I follow, Michael Fleur, I think is how you pronounce his
Yeah.
last name. I don't know, but he's got like 200 something thousand followers on TikTok and
Hmm.
big old Facebook following, and so he was like, you need to buy this stuff. And I'm like, all right, let me invest in this, right?
Yeah.
It sounds so counterintuitive, right? To like think about, and it's like, why are you spending money to have better content? Like,
Yeah.
what's that? Well, it's running
Oh,
$150,000
yeah.
a month,
$150,000 is why.
right? You know, like that's real money.
Yeah.
And so if I spend $300 on this because he told me, and I gain an extra 2, 3 thousand followers, it's a win.
Yeah. You have to win. Okay. What's the biggest mistake people make when they go to buy a mattress?
Oh, overpaying,
Overpaying. Okay.
overpaying,
I
right?
knew you were going to say overpaying. So apart from overpaying,
Yeah, yeah,
like
yeah.
select like when they select a mattress, like what's the biggest
Well,
mistake?
no offense, but buying trash, right?
Is
Um,
that you hating my Amazon mattress? Is
yes,
that a shot?
yes. And a quick snippet. My cousin, he slept on an Amazon mattress for the past 5, 6 years, and
Hmm.
we finally convinced him like, hey, just take one of our mattresses. Like, well, frick, I think my brother sold it to him at cost,
Oh
right?
well. Yeah.
And he's like, dude, he's like, I don't know what I've been doing on that other mattress. But you don't know until you know. But
Yep.
I'll tell
Don't
you
you know?
what, it does. You'll be in a chiropractor and then you'll find out, right? Like that is the long term effects of crappy mattress. Anyways, not the
No, no, no. Okay, listen. I already said the next time I buy a mattress, I'm calling you.
yeah,
Don't worry, it's on the record right here.
yeah.
How long? This the final question. Like, how long this before someone should call you? Like, if they bought one 3, 5,
Your
7
body's
years
gonna
ago,
tell you.
body. Okay.
I don't. Yeah, man, the industry wants to tell you 7, 8 years. They want you coming back as soon as possible.
Uh-huh.
I'm for the people, right?
Okay.
So I'm
So
gonna
it could be
tell
longer
you,
than 7 years.
yeah.
And like, how is that flipping
I
them
got
and stuff like
people.
that,
I
or?
got people that told me they've slept on the mattress for 15 to 20 years. You
Hmm.
think I'm going to convince them that they should have bought sooner with me? They've
Mm-hmm.
they've milked that sucker and they are happy. And they're
Mm-hmm.
not feeling the aches and pains. If you're waking up with aches and pains and you've been to a doctor, a licensed doctor, and it's got to do with your sleep, that's different, right? Um, but if you're loving your mattress, why would you change it? Like I'm of
Okay.
the opposite approach where it's like I want you to believe in me, right? And I'm not going to just tell you to buy a mattress just because
Right.
it's hit a certain amount of years. Your
Right.
body's going to tell you, especially as you get older,
Right.
right?
Okay. Well,
I'm
so.
27 years old and my body's already telling me stuff, right? You know? So, I mean, when you're 40, 50, 60, like your body's going to
That's
tell
old
you
guys.
that
Yeah, I got you. That's old guys.
this
Yeah,
thing's
we need to
tough.
know. Okay. Well, listen, it's been amazing. Love to hear about all this stuff. I'm sure I have like 1,000 questions more that as I listen to this again. But it's just it's. I'll end with this, which is to say that you get on Twitter, you get on X, and you'll see people with very strong opinions about what you should or shouldn't do. And I've just become. I'd say become. I just more I see things. It's like, okay, this business right here is not that I want to get in the mattress business, but there are things that people can learn because
Mm.
there are practices that might work for you that wouldn't work for them, or vice versa. And we've really kind of this is that old school way of thinking. The free, like, we're all free market people, but you gotta do it this way. It's like, no, 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 no. You don't have to this way. You can get on Twitter. You can sell mattresses across the U.S. and here's how you do it. Oh, I never would
Yeah.
have thought about that. Right, because that's not the old way to think about it. And it doesn't mean they're always bad. There's just always new ways to improve, and so it's good to hear different perspectives on how to do that. So I'll give you
Yeah.
the final word where people find you, and then if they want a mattress,
Mattress guy. I think it's mattress guy underscore or something like that on Twitter. Just
okay,
type in mattress guy on Twitter,
mattress
you'll
guy,
find me.
yeah,
And
mattress guy
I'll
underscore, yeah.
leave people with this is if you're be curious. Kobe Bryant would always talk about curiosity,
Mm-hmm.
right? Uh, be curious, have a hard work ethic, right? And put yourself out there, and you'll be crazy. It'll be crazy to you what you can accomplish
Mm-hmm.
in 3 months to a
Yeah.
year, right?
Yeah.
And so I really just want to encourage like the people that are listening to this, reading this, whatever, like just go out and try.
Mm-hmm.
Like don't wait until you're 84, 85 on your deathbed with a life full of regrets, right? Like
Yeah.
go out and try and say I tried, you
Yeah.
know?
Well, yeah, and that's the thing. Is that this will be out either today's episode or tomorrow's newsletter. We send one out every day, so
Awesome.
we'll put this out pretty quick. So for people listening, but Kobe Bryant, I'm a Celtics fan, so that goes back to the team versus player mentality. Is I'm not. Kobe was great. I'm not hating on Kobe, but
I love him.
I'm
I
a
love
Celtics
him.
guy. But he was
Mamba,
great.
Mamba mentality. I
But the other
love
thing
it.
is, and I'll wrap up with this, is that there's a fear of what people might think and say. Most people they don't even know you. They forget you exist.
Yep.
And so if you get off Twitter today, a month from now, people would go, "Wait, who is that guy on Twitter talking about
Yep.
mattresses?" And it's not to be same with me. Like they wouldn't know who I am. It doesn't matter. They just forget. Not
Yep.
because they have their own stuff going on. We are. It's someone said one time. It's someone else's movie, and you're just a character in it. And so, you go off the screen, then the movie goes on without you. And so you don't
Hmm.
need that mentality of I don't. I need to be there to sell the mattresses or whatever it is I'm selling them, but I'm not like if I try something for 3 months, it goes along, they'll forget because it didn't matter to them, and that's just how it is. And so when you kind of remember that it's their movie that you're trying to be a part of, it's how often do mattresses come into play in their movie? Probably not that often. How often do
Yep.
what I do? Not very often. So you're just there when they need you, and so that's super helpful way to think about it. So listen, man, this has been great. Love interacting with you. I do have the stump guy coming on, so just FYI, I know you and him were having a little Twitter spout, but he's coming on here, I think, in a few weeks. And so, anyways, it'd be good to get him on here as well.
That's awesome. That's awesome, brother.
All right, well,
Cool.
Nick, well, thank you again, and we'll talk soon, brother.
Appreciate your time.